I never suspected my wife because she was too good at being perfect. We'd been married 6 years. No big fights. No screaming matches. She baked cookies for neighbors, remembered everyone's birthdays, volunteered at an animal shelter. Everyone loved her, including me. The first weird thing happened when she suddenly suggested we start sharing locations. Her idea. She laughed and said, just for safety, in case something happens. I thought it was sweet. A week later, she started accusing me of cheating. Out of nowhere, asked who I was texting, asked why I came home 10 minutes late, smelled my shirt for perfume like she was joking. Except her eyes weren't joking at all. She cried one night and said she was scared of losing me. I held her and promised I'd never hurt her. I didn't know she was already making sure I looked guilty when the truth came out. The discovery came from the laptop. She asked me to fix the Wi-Fi while she took a shower. Her email was open. The message popped up. Subject line, last night was dangerous. My hands went cold. I told myself not to look. I looked anyway. It wasn't romantic at first glance. No hearts. No, I love you. Just logistics. Hotel names. Times. He almost saw us. Be careful, your husband is suspicious. There were months of it. The worst part? She wasn't just cheating. She was planning. Screenshots of our bank account. Notes about when I was out of town. Messages about how to push him first. So he leaves, and I look innocent. When I closed the laptop, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of getting caught. I confronted her that evening. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just asked, who is Daniel? She blinked twice, then smiled. Actually smiled. Said, oh, and finally found out. No denial. No shock. She calmly explained that I've been distant, boring, predictable. That she deserved compassion. That Daniel understood her soul. Then she said the line that flipped my stomach inside out. But don't worry, I already fixed it. I asked what she meant. She told me she'd been telling people I was controlling, that I read her messages, that I scared her sometimes. She said she was building a story, in case you tried to ruin my life for us. That night, I understood something very clearly. I wasn't dealing with a cheating wife. I was dealing with someone preparing to destroy me. That night, I didn't sleep. She acted completely normal. Made tea, watched TV, kissed me on the cheek before bed, like she hadn't just admitted she was preparing to frame me. At 2 a.m., I quietly checked her phone while she slept. She deleted everything, except one app she forgot about. Notes. It was a list titled, Exit Plan. I'm not kidding. Inside were bullet points. Open separate account. Tell mom he's angry lately. Save screenshots of arguments. Cry if he confronts you. Say you're scared. And the last line, if needed, say he pushed you. I sat on the bathroom floor shaking, realizing my marriage had turned into a legal thriller. The next morning, I started recording everything, not secretly filming her, just voice memos on my phone whenever we talk about serious things. 3 days later, she made her first move. She called me at work, sobbing, saying she was scared to come home. Said I'd yelled at her the night before. I hadn't. That evening, her sister showed up at our apartment unannounced. Took her out for safety. The next day, my boss asked if everything was okay at home. Apparently, my wife had told people I was unstable, planting seeds. Carefully, the twist came when Daniel contacted me. Not angry, panicked. He said she told him I was violent, that she needed help escaping, that she might have to go to the police. He sent me screenshots. In one, she wrote, if he ever finds out, I'll say he hit me. I have bruises from the gym anyway. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I realized something worse. She wasn't choosing between two men. She was preparing to sacrifice one of us. And I had no idea which one she planned to destroy first. Fire, greed. The police came at 6:17 a.m. I know the exact time because I was already awake, staring at the ceiling when the knocking started. Not knocking, pounding. By the time I opened the door, two officers were already stepping inside. My wife was behind me, wrapped in a blanket, shaking, with red eyes and mascara down her cheeks. She wouldn't look at me. One officer asked me to sit. The other said the words that almost made my heart stop. We received a report of domestic violence. She told them I'd grabbed her arm during an argument, that I'd shoved her against the wall, that she was scared to stay in the apartment. She showed them photos, bruises on her upper arm, exactly where she said. I tried to speak, but my mouth wouldn't work. Then they asked me to turn around, and I realized this was a misunderstanding. This was a plan. They took me to the station. No cuffs, but that somehow felt worse. I kept thinking, this is it. This is how my life ends. My phone was taken. I sat in the gray room for 4 hours while they verified statements. When a detective finally came in, he looked tired. He said something strange. Your wife's story is very detailed. Too detailed. He asked if I had any proof. My hands were shaking when I asked for my phone. I played the audio. The recording from 3 nights earlier. Her voice saying, if needed, I'll say you pushed me. The detective went very still. Then he asked if I had more. I showed him the exit plan, the messages to Daniel, the screenshots. For the first time that morning, someone believed me. When I got home that evening, she was gone. Not just out, gone. Clothes missing, laptop gone, jewelry gone. On the kitchen table, she'd left a note. You forced me to do this. Another twist came an hour later. Daniel called me again, terrified. He said she'd shown up at his place crying, saying I tried to kill her, said she wanted him to hide her. Then she asked him to testify against me if the police called. That's when he finally understood. He went to the station himself, gave them everything. And somewhere in the middle of that chaos, I realized something that made me feel cold all over. If I hadn't checked that notes app, I would be in jail right now. The next morning, my lawyer told me something I'll never forget. She didn't just accuse you, she filed a formal report. That meant my name was now in a domestic violence database. Even if the case was dropped, even if I was innocent, for a few hours, I honestly thought my life was over. Then another twist came. The detective called me back to the station. They brought my wife in for questioning. She stuck to her story at first, crying, shaking, saying she was terrified, until they showed her Daniel statement, until they played her own voice back to her. The recording, her saying she'd fake it. She went silent, then angry. Then she said something that made everyone in the room stare at her. Well, I had to protect myself. That sentence is now in the official transcript. 2 days later, the charges against me were dropped. Quietly. No apology from the police. No announcement clearing my name. Just a piece of paper saying no further action. But her problems were just starting. They charged her with filing a false police report, and attempted fraud, and obstruction. And suddenly, the story she'd been writing for months flipped upside down. Her family called me, not to yell, to apologize. Apparently, she told them I was violent for weeks. But now the police had shown them the evidence, the recordings, the plan. Her mother cried on the phone and said, I don't recognize my daughter anymore. Neither did I. The final twist came from a place I never expected. Another man contacted me, not Daniel, someone else. He said he dated her 3 years before she met me. Said she'd accused him of hitting her, and he tried to break up. Said he spent one night in jail before the charges were dropped. Same pattern, same bruises, same tears, same story. He sent me documents. Suddenly, this wasn't just my nightmare. It was a pattern. In court, her lawyer tried to say she was unstable, depressed, confused. The judge looked at her and said quietly, this is not confusion. This is planning. She avoided jail, but she lost everything. Job, friends, family. The divorce was finalized without a single argument. No contact order, no alimony, no shared property. She walked out alone. Here's my last update. It's been 8 months. I moved, changed numbers, started therapy. Some days I still wake up sweating, thinking the police are at the door, but I'm free. If there's one thing I learned, it's this: cheating hurts, lying hurts more, but being almost erased by someone you love, that changes you forever. So if you're reading this and something feels off, document everything, trust your instincts, and remember, the most dangerous people aren't always angry. Sometimes they're the ones crying a blanket behind two police officers. I survived, and I'm never ignoring red flags again. 3 months after the trial ended, I thought I was finally done with her. Then I got an email from the prosecutor's office. Subject line: additional witness. My stomach dropped. Apparently, during her case, another woman had come forward. Not about me, about someone else. She'd been dating a guy across town and had been accused of abusing his girlfriend. Same timeline, same bruises, same crying story. And the girlfriend? My ex-wife. Turns out, while all of this was happening, she'd already started a new relationship and had already begun building the same narrative. The prosecutor asked if I'd be willing to testify in a possible future case. That's when it finally hit me. I wasn't the exception. I was just one chapter in a long book. A few weeks later, I ran into Danny by accident at a gas station. He looked destroyed, lost weight, dark circles, hands shaking when he held his car. He told me she tried to move in with him after everything collapsed. Cried about how the system betrayed her, how I ruined her life, how the police were against her. Then one night, she accused him of pushing her. He laughed when he told me, not because it was funny, because it was exactly what I'd warned him about. He'd installed cameras the day after talking to me. She packed her bags and vanished before the police ever came. We stood there in silence for a long time. Two men, almost erased by the same woman. Here's my real final update. It's been over a year now. I'm in a new relationship. Slow, calm, boring in the best way. We argue sometimes. But no one records, plots, or rewrites reality. I still keep that photo. Not because I'm afraid. Because it reminds me I survived something most people wouldn't believe. If you take anything from this story, take this: love does not require fear. Real victims don't plan. And if someone is already writing the story where you're the villain, you need to leave before the ending is written for you. This is the last time I'll ever post about it. I'm choosing peace. And this time, I'm finally free.